Okay, so back again. If you are one of the few people, and it really is only a few people, who have made comments about me waving my hands about, who have made comments about me not getting to the point, then please don't waste your time. Go and find someone else to watch. I'm not being nasty, but there is no point to this particular video. Sometimes there is to some of my videos, but this one really hasn't got a point. It's a ramble. It's me giving my thoughts, not trying to sell you something, not trying to pass on information. It's my experiences, which many people, thankfully, find very useful and maybe even entertaining. I don't know. But anyway, today's ramble is about my Leica. I'm not sure if you know that I have a Leica. If you watched any of my videos, and if you haven't, then subscribe, and please, you'll see lots more videos from me. You'll know that I shoot with Nikon mainly, well, in fact, Nikon exclusively for weddings now. But in the past, I've had a touch of gas in the past, and I've shot with Sony, Nikon, Fuji, and about 10 months ago, I got Leica. Why? Well, I do things for me, photographically speaking. I don't just do weddings. I do weddings, professionally, weddings, families, portraits, some model shots, boudoir. But I do also go out some days and just take a camera with me and wander around my town, city, or go off to London, something, and spend some hours taking photos. And I like that camera to be a different camera to the ones I use for work. So I don't really like taking my Nikons. I have used the ZF because that is kind of different. I don't use it much at weddings. So I do feel that it's a camera that I can sort of take and use for those days out just for me. But I got the Leica to really have a camera that was specifically for my photography. Long story, but I started out, I think it was, about 10 months ago. I bought an M9 because an M9 has got the CCD sensor, and I just think that is probably what gave the Leica look that's become sort of a bit legendary about Leica cameras. The fact it was a CCD sensor. Anyway, first one I got was, for various reasons, I returned it. I bought a second one, and for different reasons I returned that as well, and thought I've had enough of these M9 cameras. We'll get an M10, which hasn't got any inherent problems. So I got the M10, 24 megapixels, much better ISO performance. I think the highest ISO on the M9 might have been 1600 or 3200. I can't remember. Anyway, it's pretty low. The M10 25,600 with H1 and H2 as well, taking us up to 51,000, whatever it is. But other than that, very similar to the M9 before it, and different to the M240 in that it's a lot slimmer. I've never had an M240, so I'm not too sure. But the M240 also had video, I believe. So the M10 went back to being a pure photography camera, no video. Extremely simple to use, and recently I've really fallen in love with it. When I bought it, the red dot, the idiot that had it before me gouged out the red dot and put in some horrible lump of aluminium, hammered it in there. I don't know, is that sort of debadging it, making it look not like a Leica? Has that got some sort of kudos? I don't understand. It's a Leica. I'm not worried if people know it's a Leica. I'd rather like the idea, actually. So, excuse me. Last week I was down in London anyway for a conference, and went into the Mayfair Leica shop, and they changed that free of charge, ripped out the horrible lump of aluminium and put a proper red dot back in there. And it's weird, isn't it? But that tiny change has made me really fall in love with this again. And if you want a luxury experience, pop into Leica shop in Mayfair. It makes Harrods look like Tesco's. It's absolutely stunning, beautiful, lovely shop, lovely people. Just it's just worth the experience just to go in there and have a walk round. Anyway, so that helped me fall in love with it more over the last week or so. Prior to that, a few weeks ago, I bought this little baby because I wanted to do some of my shoots I do with models and engagement shoots and that sort of thing. The Leica has got a look. This is the M10, which has got a CMOS sensor, so it's lost some of the Leica look that the old CCD sensor had, but it still retained definitely a Leica look. And if I import photos from the same wedding, family shoot, whatever, from the Nikon and from the Leica, I can look at the library in Lightroom and I can pick out 100% each of the Leica photos. They have just got a look, and that look, I'm not saying it's better than Nikon or Sony or whatever. It's different, it's fairly unique, it's artistic, it's I just love it. That's just me. Maybe you would look at it and say, well, I'm not very keen on that. Maybe you prefer sharp, bright, contrasty. I don't. I prefer something more artistic, and that's what the Leica gives you. So I thought on some of these shoots I would like to get a bit closer. I've had a 35 and a 50mm f 1.4 lenses, Leica lenses for that, which I used some months ago. But I've settled on the Voigtlander 1.2 40mm lens for my kind of street photography. That's a focal length that I just love. But it's a bit short for doing things like portraits. So I got this 90mm f2 Lights Canada lens. This is a very old lens. This was only made, I believe, 1980, 81 and 82. And I got it in absolutely, you can't see on here, but it is in absolutely perfect condition. There's literally not a speck of dust in it. It's absolutely unmarked. There's not a scratch on the paintwork or anything. It's gorgeous, and of course it takes gorgeous photos. So that's got me really enthusiastic about the Leica again, which is kind of why I'm doing this video. So there's the look, there's the whole thing about what the images look like, but also the experience of using it. It's just so different to any other camera that I've ever used. Even something like the Fuji, I had the Fuji X Pro 2 and the X100T, I think it was, which are rangefinder style cameras, but they're not a proper rangefinder. Obviously the M10 is a proper rangefinder. So you focus by looking through the rangefinder, manual focus, and it is an art that has to be learnt. And I think probably a few months ago I kind of got to a point where I thought I was pretty good at manually focusing. So I've taken it to weddings just to sort of wander around during the quiet times when nothing important's happening and just getting some shots. And I, again, love the photos and I love the experience of using it. So I'll probably end up using it more at weddings than I ever intended to. And there's just something about using it. When I first got it, before I got it and when I first got it, and what other people say is, it must be difficult. It's manual. Everything's manual, which must make it really slow and sort of difficult to use, which gets you engaged with the process of creating a photo. Yeah, not too sure about that. For me, the process of creating a photo is about seeing the photo before you even look at the camera. So seeing something, seeing some light, seeing some shadow, seeing something that's happening, and then just thinking, right, that'll make a nice shot. I need to just wait for the right moment. Obviously I need to get everything set up and focused, blah blah blah, and there's really, I don't think you need to sit there and think, right, I need to do this with the ISO, I need to have the speed there. That's just not necessary. And I don't think. I shoot with this basically in aperture priority. So it's the ISO is automatic, the speed is automatic within certain parameters as with any other camera. I just decide on the aperture, which of course is on the lens, and then focus. And yes, if you're going to shoot wide open, where you've got a depth of field of about that much, yes, you have to be pretty accurate with the focusing. But even so, I've got into a routine where when I've taken the shots I'm going to take, I'll just go back to infinity on the focus ring. So I know when I next focus, I've got to come this way with the focus ring, and my patch, my patch that I have to line up to get focus is going to come in from the left. It will come across, and when it lines up with the main image, I'm done. And given that infinity to 1 meter on this focus ring is about an inch, it really doesn't take very long, and it takes about that long to focus. And it's amazingly forgiving even at 1.2. It's not as difficult as you would think. And if you don't want to shoot at 1.2, and a lot of the time I don't, I shoot at 5.6 or 8 or even f11 if it's fairly bright. Certainly for the outdoor shots. And then all you need to do is say, well, most of my shots I want focused at about 2.5 meters, so I've set that 2.5 meters, and then it's just a matter of literally walking around, compose, shoot, compose, there, wait for the moment, and shoot. And sorry, I had it turned off. Let me just. Another thing is the shutter. It's absolutely wonderful. I just love it. I just love the sound. So it's the images, it's using the camera and the experience of doing that is making me more and more fall in love with the Leica. I've actually got another lens on the way. You won't be surprised if you've watched any of my videos. You know that I love playing around with gear, and I so much like the Voigtlander and the 90mm focal length. So that's 40mm. This is 90. It is a bit long focal length, and it is physically a bit long as well, especially if you take the cap off and have the extending hood out. It really does become quite a long lens. So Voigtlander do a 75mm 1.5 vintage lens. I think they'll be making this for 3 or 4 years, and that's arriving in a couple of days' time. And I'm hopeful that that'll be slightly more practical than the 90mm for doing things like engagement shoots, where I've got the freedom to move back and forth, and I can, not under too much time pressure. It's not like the bride walking up the aisle where I've got, I've got to get that shot and I've got to get it now. Engagement shoot, I can move them around. I can say, oh, just hold on, just let me do this on the, and do the shot again. So when I'm not under too much pressure with a 75mm lens on, I think I'm going to get some really nice shots. So what I'll do is, I've actually got an engagement shoot on next Sunday, so that's 6 days time. My lens is supposed to arrive in 2 days time. A couple of days practicing with it, playing around, and hopefully then I will get back to you sometime next week and we'll have a look at some of those shots from the engagement shoot. That is my ramble about Leica, and I'll leave you with a few shots that I've taken over the past couple of months, 5 months, and be back with you in a week or so. Thanks for watching.